So I set up the new boots, the clamps. They only go into one way in the boot, but you can have it orientation around so that you can't get to the Allen key. So you've got to kind of work it out how it's going to go in, because obviously if I put that here and I've got that clamp upside down, then I'm struggling to get to the head of the thing. Now I hope that's the right way, because when the carburetors go on, we kind of don't want anything obscuring it either. So we're just going to have to take that chance, and of course they're really hard to get on, so what do? Spray it. And they're still hard to get on. This is the left hand. That's the top. That does not want to go on. You just have to make sure that the orientation's right. They're going to be great to get the carburetors on. This one is a left. We know they went on because they went on without the clamps on. The clamps are loose. Oh yes. You can just feel those two top notches. Right. Oh yeah. You can kind of feel them and kind of not. That does not want to go on. Yeah. Okay, so the other side. Looks like all these are pointing down to where they are. I think this is going to be, it's just the cable, nothing dropped. It sounded like something dropped, but it didn't. ones when this is on. I'm just dummy fitting it at the moment. I think so. I'll just leave it there. We'll do those up. Oh geez, this is going to be fun. It's going to have to be a better tool for doing this. See if I can get a 1/4 inch drive. I'm going to refit the carbies today. A couple of things to remember. Got the water outlet, the water inlet. Now the water inlet pipe is a drama because you can't get them. It's the same pipe that was rodent eaten, if you remember. It had all this damage to it. The way this pipe feels anyway, I wouldn't want to use it again. So I've got this one red pipe left from the hose kit. It's not bent to the right shape, so I have to modify that a little bit afterwards. I'm sure I'll be able to do something with it. It's the kind of job you want to make sure everything is done, that you won't have to take off, because you haven't got the luxury of putting one of these boots on one inlet manifold. You've got to put the whole 4 down at once. So by saying that, it was difficult enough to put those on their own. I think it's going to be fairly difficult to do with all 4. Already put that red pipe on. Just got to make sure the hose clamp clears everything. Also, it's not bent to the right shape. It doesn't have the right shape, but it is fairly flexible. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to get it within some sort of area. Let's lay these down. I'm going to put all the cables on first. Put these in the right area. I'll go around. Yeah, my hose clamp's out of the way, even though I've tracked my choke cable in there. Hose clamp's out of the way. The pipe is rubbing on the chassis, but the thickness of that silicone is probably going to take about 10 years for it to rub through. So we're going to be fairly right. The choke cable hooks in the eyelet and hooks onto here. Again, I don't know why it's so difficult. Just gotta undo that. Too big, that's too small. Size. No. No, nothing seems to fit. Should have had a proper look, as Phil said. Yeah, drops in there. Goes home. It's not pulling on anything, just firm. Test it. Yeah, works fine. Make sure it's tight. Don't have to go back in. Got a pull and a push cable. Yeah, I've been trapped by that before. When I pulled it out, obviously I pulled the throttle right round and thinking, hey, this will be your pull cable, this will be your return, and then guess what? It's that way. Always good fun. One's in. Before I tighten anything up, let's see if we get the other one in. Which I have to kind of turn around maybe. And yes, made a mistake with those. Yeah, it's come out again. They have to go through this rubber. No, choke cable comes from the side, so it doesn't. Make sure we got the right one again. Yep. I'm actually going to give myself a little bit more room. Play with the return first, because I think that might be the easier option. Just to go through there. So you know, do the return first. Choke cable, return, then pull. And make sure you got them through the rubber shielding. tight. So basically the little nut on the end goes into a keyway where you won't be able to turn it, and you turn it via that on the return cable. Get this one down there again. It's in the right area. This out. And I'm just grabbing this so it's on a slight tilt like this. When I open the throttle, I can push it in, lever it up, and hopefully wants to go. Once more room. I'm just opening the throttle by fingers, and I'm just trying to wiggle it into its little hole. Get into your hole. Don't you like a hole? There it is. And wind this up. Now we do not want to do, we have play on this side. The other side doesn't have an adjustment. It just goes to home. That's why you've probably got to do that one first. I'll wind this up. It's right down. Keep winding it up. Unlocking it. It'll fit in the thing. You don't want it to pull tight, which is too tight. And you don't want it to be too loose, because then you lose a little bit of resistance. That seems to be right. And then tighten the lock nut up. And I'll try and keep that. This has got a slight bend to it. I'll try and keep it forward. Got a slow return. That's probably just because all the cables are just. We have an adjustment up here as well to get, because I hate having any gap in my throttle. It just feels a bit too tight to me. Once everything runs and it expands, you won't know until then. I'll just run it up a little bit more. Alright, I've got a little bit of play there, probably more than I like, but I've got adjustment up here so I wouldn't have to pull it apart again. Let me get the other coolant line on. Sits. Throttle position sensor on. It wants to sit like that over it. Okay. Just seems a bit weird. How about like that? That looks a bit better. Clamp won't move down the hose. Don't want to struggle with it. Doggy to help. Oh, what about it? so I'm not going to feel the end of the hose there. So that will come over like that. Okay. Nothing else we've got to trust in there. These hoses will go up into here when they're on. They're just vent hoses, but we just got to spray these boots a bit, otherwise my doubts whether they'll go on. Carby's a bit. I'm just looking for the weak point where they want to be. I'm just hoping once we get it lined up, they'll slip in. I better get more light in there. Let's see. Definitely lined up. I hate it when your light just will not sit. I'm going to have to move the camera and get my weight on it because I can't get down there. Well, day two of trying to fit these carburetors, in the end what I've had to do is I've had to put a piece of wood across the face of them. Then I've strapped it down. This one actually goes across the other side comes across this side. Strapped it down to the bench. Whereas I tightened them down as much as I could. I only have bike straps. Tightened them down as much as I could. Still wouldn't go in. Then I took them all out, checked that I had the boots on the way they came apart. I sure did. Put it back on again. Still wouldn't go on. I pulled them down as much as I could. Then I started having to jack the bike up as well to pull against the straps, because as I was pulling it down, it was just pulling suspension down, so they still wouldn't go on. So I left it before I broke something. Did some research on the rubbers, because I think that's the only thing we actually changed. Was almost tempted to put the old ones back on. Still couldn't get them on. The only reference that we have on actually how they fit, because there's a million YouTube videos out there to say, oh, fitting carburetors, and they all just push on them and they drop in, that was the way they were, but this is the way they should be. And the only way you know that is because the notch in this, where this rubber is, the clamps all have to point inwards. So you tighten them up, two on one side, two on the other side, inwards, and the left and right, as we know, that are on these. Can't quite see it. There's a left and a right. This one here. Obviously two left and two right, and then the top clamps get sorted as well. I've had to put that much stress on it, pull on it. Had the back wheel right off the ground with the jack pulling on these things. The piece of wood actually had a bow in it, and then just wiggle them backwards and forwards, and then they slowly went in. So I've just relaxed it now. I haven't done the clamps up or anything. I'm just gonna make sure that they stay in on their own, and then that's it. But it must have cost me about, well, it cost me yesterday because I gave up, and so far today it's cost me about 3 hours. But anyway, that's part of the fun.